What's up? It's Andrew from the band Ripped to Shreds, and today we're going to analyze 5 guitar solos that I played. That was from the Pharmacist album, Flourishing, Extremities on Unspoiled Mental Grounds. For this one, I was going for like a very Chris Poland type of sound, mainly in the way that he approaches pentatonics. There's some things of his that I don't grasp as well, especially the way that he uses vibrato and bending to emulate like a pitch wheel, because Chris Poland's big thing is Jan Hammer from Mahavishnu Orchestra. I like Mahavishnu a lot, but that kind of thing is a little bit like Jan Hammer, but not really. Whole thing is in E. So this, just bending up to the minor third, down to the major second, root, and that's just the fifth. I think this probably stole from Alex Argento, who's like an Italian jazz fusion keyboardist. I think this was like an Embrace to the World solo. Then I just go right up the E minor scale and bend to hit the E. And then this next bit is actually very Dave Mustaine. We have the regular E minor pentatonic. I'm phrasing it with 3 notes per string. And here you'll see that the E repeats if I'm playing like this. If I were to play E minor pentatonic scale normally with 3 notes per string, it would be more like that, which I do later in the solo. But this is very Dave Mustaine. And then I'm doing something that Yngwie did a lot, which is in groups of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So groups of 4, but in triplets. And then again, the same thing, E minor shape. This is just another Chris Poland-ism. And then I play this. The very sharp-eared among you might recognize as the opening phrase from Coltrane's solo on Giant Steps. And then that's where I go into the 3 note per string pentatonic thing. I like this 3 note per string pentatonic thing because I find just 2 notes per string, I find it difficult and awkward to play. And when I was learning guitar, I heard a shit ton of SRV, Hendrix, Page, Clapton, all those guitarists, and the way that guitarists typically phrase pentatonic things just got really boring to me. So I was always looking for different ways to play it, and suddenly that doesn't sound quite so much like a same notes, just different way of phrasing. And once I get to the top here, like a Paul Gilbert mixed with a Dave Mustaine kind of idea. And then you have to be careful with the picking at the end, because it's not just on the E string. I try to hit the G and the B strings as well. Similar to like the picking that Mustaine does at the end of Holy Wars. Yeah, that's pretty much how I think through the solo on this Pharmacist song. Righteous Fist. This one is pretty much entirely B harmonic minor. But rather than playing the full shape with the because 4 notes per string is really awkward, I just leave out minor third and play it as a 3 note per string, which is much easier to play. Starts with that harmonic minor run. I guess that's F sharp. That implies like an F sharp major triad, the 5 chord over B, but I'm not really thinking of it like that. I'm just thinking of it as a convenient tapping shape. And then this is something I do a lot. Convenient finger shape. Again, easy to play on guitar and make it fast. It's not strictly quartal, because between the G and the B string, it's not a 4th, it's a major 3rd, right? But the idea is like kind of quartal. There's this Allen Holdsworth shape that I really like a lot. It's like tripling up on this last note. And I just think it sounds cool. Just throw that in. And then it's back to the B harmonic minor thing. And I tremolo this note here for a little bit. And I think when I'm playing this live, it gives my ears a moment to catch up to the beat if I've, completely fucked up the solo and I'm not playing the right rhythms. So just going down the scale. Then I'm playing diminished idea. I like stretching. Stretching lets me play things fast. So it's just going straight up, the diminished arpeggio. Then I sequence it going back down like this. In 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have this little idea. I think I stole that from like Greg Howe from one of his albums, I don't remember which. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Talked a little bit about the 3 note per string pentatonic idea, and that's all over this solo. The actual harmonic analysis of Holdsworth solos goes completely over my fucking head, but I like the way the melodic contours sound to my ear, even if I don't actually understand what's really going on. This is maybe something like Holdsworth would have done in the 80s. And this is all based B minor. And this, I guess, is kind of like a jazz approach called enclosure, where you have this target note here, that would be the minor 3rd, and you play the note underneath it and past it, before finally falling on that. Comes up in like bebop too, but that's a little more like, although it's a little bit more chromatic. And the way I found Holdsworth to phrase it was more like, so again, that's just, I guess that's not actually the B minor pentatonic scale, because I'm playing the 6 instead of the 5. That would be like the correct B minor pentatonic. It sounded cooler to me, playing the 6 there. I dive on the B root. And then again, that 4ths idea. But here I string skip towards the end. And that was something that you would hear Holdsworth do all over like the UK albums and really on like IOU. And there's this I think that legato pattern I might have picked up from like Tom Quayle, I think. But if you want to try that legato pattern, you could think of it as 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. Yeah, that's pretty much the pattern, and I'm using it here. But then I just go into a normal scale run. So this is actually an F, which would be like the flat 5, and I think that just introduces a tiny bit of tension before Mike goes into his solo, which follows right after mine. And I just love that phrasing with a bar. Guest solo I played on Doomsday's Holy Justice. I recorded a whole bunch of stuff for this, and then in the studio, Zach and Ryan chopped it up, and then Ryan put his like call and response leads. Originally I had it coming in like, but then they cut it to just. This whole solo was entirely Yngwie ideas. If I remember correctly, the whole thing is in E flat. It's just harmonic minor. And then kind of like a Baroque thing that Yngwie would do often. You can play around with anything with that concept, you know? That type of thing. Then I do something like a... which is again that 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, but it's all in triplets. In augmented arpeggio, the band targets the 5th. When you solo, you want to end on like a strong note, you know, like the 5th or the root or the minor 3rd, usually for metal. You can end it on the 2 or the 4 if the song sounds a certain way and it lends itself to that kind of like suspended, unresolved quality. But in general, the strong notes to land on at the end of the solo: root, 5th, minor 3rd, or major 3rd. So when we look at maybe, we really need to look at the chords underlying the solo, because it's not extreme metal, death metal, where you just kind of play whatever sounds evil. There has to be actual thought about the notes that you play when you're playing regular music. Phil's solo goes over a riff that sounds like this. Straightforward E minor rock riff. When it comes to my solo section, it changes to... I perceive that as being in G major. And when I wrote this song, I thought of it as like a synth rock Van Halen type of thing. And it kind of like changed between the verses would be in E minor, and then when it came to the chorus, it would be in G major again. So the solo starts with the... So I'm just starting on the G. And trying to be expressive with, you know, George Lynch style vibrato and the whammy bar. That kind of whammy bar dipping into notes was just super common in the 80s. Eddie was probably one of the first. I don't know exactly who was like the very first, but you know, everyone did it. And that has a kind of cool tonality to it. I guess I hear it mostly in G major, but with the C as the root, you could kind of see it as C Lydian, I guess. Targeting major third. So that kind of outlines like a G major triad, right? With the fourth in it. And this kind of bending. Walking down the scale with the bar gives me momentum to come back the other way. And that just ends on the G major scale. I'm not really thinking in terms of chords on this solo. I am mostly thinking scalar and also some basic triads. I'm just trying to sketch out a melody that I can hear and kind of embellish it, you know, with the jerk off vibrato or bar dips. I think this vibrato is something I mostly got from Holdsworth, because it's something that he would do a lot. It's a little more subtle than using the bar, and I prefer it in a lot of cases to, you know, the standard. There's some places where you need to do that, like on the Doomsday solo where it's like very Yngwie, and you need to have that very over-the-top vibrato. But in general, it's not really what I'm looking for most of the time. Just as a note, this bar is hip-shot hardware. Personally, I like this a lot better than the Strandberg tremolo, just because this is a lot more sensitive. I don't know how they're set up differently, but I just get a lot more dive, a lot more rapidly with the hip-shot trem. The action of it is a little bit more like a regular Floyd, or really, I've always played an Ibanez Edge, which is like, you know, Floyd derivative. But yes, that is pretty much all for today. If there is a specific solo that I've played before that you guys would like me to break down, let me know in the comments, and I will play it and break it down for you guys. The next RTS show, either tomorrow or the day after, is going to be in Toronto with Cancer and Putrid Pile, so I better see you guys there. Peace.